Hi guys!
Yes, it's stat time, guys. Here we are again. Geez, this has been quite a week for me for lies, right? I think I did one with Victor Monday. I'm doing one with you today.
Tomorrow?
I always, one of the people say I always have to adjust myself when I get in the camera. It's like I notice all the stupid things with my collar. Last time I had a problem with collar, it's like I'm yanking on my shirt,
Well,
like
last
one
time
of those wardrobe things.
my hair was bothering me last time.
Yeah, you gotta. Your hair. You always like playing with your hair though.
I do.
Especially for the camera. She's always on camera now. You haven't noticed Kerry does all little stat videos, a whole bunch of things now. She's like just all over the place. She's like the prodigy it person these days. So, but anyway, it's wonderful weather. Hopefully it's better. This is one of the best winters we've had. If you don't like snow, and if you do like snow, sorry. You're going to have to go a little bit further north, like Buffalo. But here we are. It's beautiful. It's going to be 80. I think it was last time I checked, it was almost 80 degrees out now.
Right, my watch says it's 82.
82. And we may break a record Friday. I heard it could get up to 85 to 86. So it's going to be a fun... It's your type of weather.
I love this weather.
Yeah, it is summer. We're summer people around here. And the favorite pastime is summer. But we have some things that are heating up and some things that are cooling down in real estate, right? So this is a report we're going to go into. We're going to go into the stats. What's the stats, guys? Where are we going with numbers? And the numbers are out. And some of the things...
We got them here.
Yeah. And Kerry was masterfully putting this together. And I think the numbers we're going to... we got to compile. It was a quick... compiling of numbers. We've been very busy. You've been busy with home tours, so you've been running around like a chicken. We have an event tonight, so it's always good to know that we have some things going on.
Having fun.
Yes, that's something we like to do in this office. Yeah. Right.
Yes, we do.
So anyway, you're going to delve into the numbers. What do you want to? Let's start. You hit me with the numbers, and let's start interpreting this for everybody who's watching. The sales numbers for Staten Island. For
sure. Okay. So one thing that stood out to me immediately when I was looking at all the stats was the pending listings. From
the pending sales that
pending sales. Sorry, from month over month is up 37%. So it was 296 in March, and now it's 407.
Yes. So this is some good indications out there. It was a robust jump. We have actually the percentage up 35%, I believe.
37.
37% jump in pending sales.
That's good.
I would say it's better than expected. I will say it's better than expected, and I'll give you some synopsis behind why that has happened. Mortgage rates had jumped down just after, so this isn't a 3-month closing window that usually people have. It's about 90 days to close in New York City, specifically here in Staten Island, about 90 days, let's give or take. So the numbers they jumped up considerably, a 37% increase in the amount of pending sales out there. However, there is a canary in the coal mine. It is down year over year.
Yes.
Yes. It's down, what, 22%?
It's down 15%.
15%, yes. We
15.
did that. So to give you the numbers, from March last year at this time, pending sales are down 15%, which is an improvement over some of the daily numbers you kind of go over. Yeah. So actually, things may have seemed to kind of bottomed out here. I mean, it's a good indication. This number was creeping up considerably over the last few months, and the year-over-year number, 15%, is no joke. It's not. It's a considerable number. Yeah. But I do think that with the pending sales on Staten Island, and I would say, from that perspective, I would say it was better than expected. So we have a better than expected March pending sale numbers, and I think that's and being that it's only 15%, where we were talking at one time pending sales were down as much as 40 in some places. So if you catch those little sound bites that you do on each of the areas, a lot of those areas, some of them are down 30%, some of them down 40%.
Oh my God, crazy amounts. Sometimes.
Yeah, it was like a little disconcerting, but now it seems like we may have touched, and I do think that has a lot to be, that has a lot to do with interest rates on the last, after a very, very, very rough fourth quarter as far as interest rates have now come into a real low, a much lower trajectory. Let's not say that it's actually the best trajectory for most people's taste. I'm not going to say, 6% is like, we haven't seen 6% since 2008. So 2007, 2006. So it's definitely up there, but it's within a means that people, it seems to be like when rates start jumping over 7, we start seeing a considerable slowdown in sales, and we've seen they were as high as 8 back in late October, November, early December. It was rough, folks. It was not. It was very, very. We're basically telling you here that it is very interest rate dependent right now. So home sales on the island are very interest rate driven to a large degree. So, but since so this is based on the 10-year treasuries. The 10-year treasuries over the last month have been falling. The fleet to safety, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the next few months, because there's definitely the market's very tumultuous in bonds, and treasury notes are technically bonds. So I mean, the market is definitely a little shaky and very volatile. I think the volatility of the bond markets have been at the highest since around 2006, 2008. A lot of uncertainty out there. However, I do think that it's we really do have to watch the Fed rate policy come May. Now, why it's important to watch the Fed rate policy, even though that doesn't impact mortgage rates to a large degree, it could create turmoil in the markets, which can even revise our 10-year treasuries down further, because there's a demand for 10-year treasuries as a fleet to safety from equities, and that's how it works, guys. 10-year treasuries will dictate. So if you want to know what your mortgage rates or for your home are going to be, you should definitely look at the 10-year treasury as being the barometer for like what's going to be happening. So that's important to note. But let's get into some of our. So that was a leading indicator.
Yeah.
So how about sold listings?
Sold listings, yeah. So sold listings are actually up 26%.
From month over month.
From month over month, yeah. So last February it was 202. Now it's 254.
Okay, so 254 from 202 the previous month. And
yeah.
Last year, here's another canary in the coal mine thing. It was 427 last year. So I would say that's about a 40% decline.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 40%.
I'm good. Jeez, she had the number right there, and I hit it on the head almost. It's 41. When you do this for this long, you kind of can do percentages by just looking at a couple of quick numbers. So that's significant. Okay, but it is a trailing. Sold homes are a trailing indicator. So my thing is that the fact that there's 407 pending listings in March means that these sale numbers should exceed at least into the 300s in the next few months. So it's going to improve. Last month was not good at all at 202. No. February is traditionally, for you guys out there, a very low sale number to begin. It's just a seasonal thing. So people, on a seasonal basis, February always is a low volume number. This time it was disconcerting because I know it shows 202 here. I think some of this includes Brooklyn, which is in our MLS system. But it was at that, what I called at the Mendoza line of 200, which is, I always, since I've been doing this since 2006, 2007, 200 home sales on Staten Island as a general is not that good. So, I mean, it's rare, considering the fact that a year ago it was 427,
Yeah.
and last year in February is 375 versus 202 this February. So March numbers, 427 last year, and again, it was only 254 this year, considerably lower. But there is a bright spot with the 407 on the pending sales. So pending sales are up considerably this month. So it looks like saying things in line. Now, a couple of things, and I know I'm kind of going off here, a couple of things in the future is that Fed rate policy, how the markets respond, because from what I understand is there may be another 25% basis point hike by the Fed to bring the Fed rate to 5.25. It's at 5 now, 5.25. But there's some indicators that if it slows the economy anymore, they may actually retreat these numbers back again. Very iffy. Both things are on the table, but it will. I do think there's some concern now that if they do raise it at a quarter point, that some of the bank failures that we've been talking about in the last few months can start to come into fruition again. It is very, very, very fine line to walk here. The Fed has not done a good job managing inflation at all. A lot of it was a late start to a problem when they called it transitory, which is absolutely not the case. The transitory label that they placed on it was laid them to inaction, and that inaction for a period of months. So instead of gradually going into interest rate hikes, they rapidly went into interest hikes, creating like a very knee-jerk, and we did the whole knee-jerk thing the last time. I actually went off on the last one. I'll probably it would be a little bit better this time. But it was it's a mess. So let's call it for what it is. They did a poor job managing inflation. But I do believe the CPI numbers are out today. I will check. I'll check CNBC. I do think that the core inflation rate is
flying off the table.
Throw it out there, Terry. Just throw it out there. So anyway, I do believe the core inflation numbers will be down. So I do think that gas prices have come down a bit. I think that's a very big key to the core inflation number. It is not directly correlated with it. However, your goods and services being delivered by gas. But OPEC has cut back production, so we may see gas prices. It's the summertime, some months, we don't know. I don't know. It's a very volatile market in that sense, but it's important to know that this is holistic. So everything that happens in the economy, the broader economy, does affect real estate. So that's why we're bringing it up.
Yes.
So what else we got going on, Kerry?
Active listings.
Active listings.
Yes.
The fear is real.
Yes. So from last month, it's down 4%.
Okay.
In February, it was 1,469. Now it's 1,409 for month over month.
So it's down.
But
it's up a little bit from last month, correct?
Yes. It's up 0.1.
0.1%. A whole 1/10 of 1%.
From year over year.
From year over year. So March, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I do think that so there hasn't been, so to give you a little perspective, that's definitely, it's slightly down from a year ago, obviously, but it's in line. So let's say that it seems like there may be a balance based on the numbers that just came out. There is some type of balance here in terms of what we're talking about is on active listings. These are people who are just putting their house on the market. So, I think there's some fear, and guys, I'm going to say it's like you don't do things when everybody else does them. So I think there's some mistake in this. The law of supply and demand is always the key factor in real estate prices. We don't wait for people. A lot of people say, I wait for things to get better. everybody mistimes this thing so badly. You can't really time this market. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think you'll be able to time this market for a long time coming. So some people are very interested to see. I will tell you, I've been doing this 18 years, and there's been at least 3 other points where everybody thought numbers were going to fall. So everybody, there's like a hangover effect to 2008, 2009, 2010. There's a hangover effect, like that could happen again. I don't see that. There's too little houses on the market. So to be honest with you, at 1,409 homes active, when I was doing this in 2008, there was almost it was around 4,000. So there is, I would say it's literally a quarter of the houses on the market from that point of time then till now. So, and I'm going to say all things economics, it's that factor is a key factor in price stability. So I don't see price stability is going to still, and you do the sales and the actual prices of houses has not come down. It's come down a little bit. It has. So we're not going to lie, it's come down a little bit. So that the average sale price has come down a bit. I'm not going to say it's the greatest of news, but I'm going to say that if you lost 4%, you're losing 4% on what you're buying. So it's not, and I just had a long conversation today with somebody who's nervous about selling because they're like, prices have come down. Well, right. So when you sell your house, you won't have to be outbid when you buy the next one by $50,000 and say you got a good deal for selling your house, but got a bad deal for buying it. So you buy and sell in the same market. I can't tell people this enough. This is timing these things versus doing things for fundamental reasons. I mean, look, there are some finances involved depending on how much is owed and things like that. But someone in a zero mortgage situation isn't going to be sitting there telling you it's a negligible type of thing. When you talk about negotiating, 4% difference on the sale of the house or a 5% decline in the house prices. I'm not sure you have the actual number, but if you you're going to be getting that on the buy side. So let's just call it for what it is. So it works both ways. So unless you're planning, I always say, unless you're planning on living in a tent, you got to pay. So it doesn't matter. So you really have to think of it like that. But what is that number, Kerry?
For what again?
The home sales. The actual. Do we have the prices on that? On the latest prices?
Sorry, all my notes are. Home sale.
Like the average home sale price. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so it is $673,000.
Yes,
Dollars.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely, and that's down. That's down from about 7. What was it down? Do we have last month's number? I guess yeah. It was about 700. A little over 7. I think it was 7. It was 706.
Yeah.
To be precise. So 706 from the year before, from last year to now. So we're talking a negligible difference. So it's down about 3%. Okay, so Staten Island's numbers as an average sale price is down a little bit. So I would not fret over the fact that they're down. It's rather expected. We do a lower sample size here because we're not talking about the numbers as a whole. But based on the volumes, it's expected. One of the biggest things is that we are seeing for the first time, there's 2 leading indicators that we're looking at. One is our the average list to price ratio. Do we have that? You're going to go through it.
Yes.
So it was 90.
It was 92.6. Now it's 93.2.
From February.
Yes.
So to put that into context, from last year was at 98. It's about a 5% difference in homeowners discounting their price to sell it. Okay, really, and I looked at some of those numbers. So home sellers are definitely more flexible in price than they have been in a while, but they also have listed their houses at higher prices than they have in the past. So the average list price of the house is going up is considerably higher. The expectation. It's like a rocket kind of taking off, it takes a while to slow down before people realize anything's happened. So we're kind of telling you that, like, if you're in the selling end of this, the numbers have come down, and people are still precipitously. So while the average sale price is down, home list prices continue to increase. And that's always, this happened in 2008, 2009, and 2018. There was some, there was some pullback, and negligible, but there was some pullback, and it's always the expectation still rides with the hot market. So and people, there's two things. It's a fundamentally emotional business to begin with. So you have a lot of emotions and high stakes in this. So a lot of people like, oh well, the guy down the block sold for an astronomical price. I could tell you more tales in this business because I've been doing it 18 years. So it's I do think that sellers predominantly will consistently overprice a house, not realizing the market, the underlying fundamentals are down still. But I want to say this, it's still very unique. This is a unique market, and I want to be very clear about this. Sometimes, and in some instances, using our complete set of numbers isn't necessarily the case in every place in any given moment. There are some sections that do extremely well and hold their own, and there are sections that don't hold their own. So turnover rates of a neighborhood will make a big determination. Turnover rates meaning how many houses and how many people move in and out of a particular neighborhood lends to stability of prices. So if you have that as a consideration, you need to understand that this needs to be the factor that you consider is whether you're in a stable market. Some neighborhoods will be much more stable than others, but the really question becomes how you want to look at the turnover ratio of a neighborhood. Those things are in consideration. Obviously, when we do evaluations on properties, one of the things I do look at is like, what's the average turnover for houses in this particular neighborhood, and is it a systemic risk to the sale price? Is it systemic, meaning as a whole, or like the finer numbers within the community? And a lot of people base their numbers on Zillow, which is, if Zillow numbers in a market like this, just so you know, they've been absolutely astonishingly terrible. It's just wildly off, and and I think there's a lot of pressure on sellers to keep the number automatically high, and then when the sale prices come in, you have people. I battle with this in changing markets. It's not really good. It's not. So you can say, oh well, my estimate says it's $695, and then if the offers have come in at $630, and it's like, geez, what happened? It's not a good indicator. And good indicators in this market is, are you getting consistent showings? And then it shouldn't be too long before you're getting an offer. A few weeks. So let's kind of put it at that. I do think at the end of the day, you need to look at all factors, and I want to, before I get into home sale prices, I want to get into the fact that each of these things are very neighborhood specific and area specific in ensuring that you're actually getting a good estimate for a property based on the data. Not everybody's capable of doing that, so you better have someone experienced in this market, or at least somebody who's fundamentally guided by that experience, because it makes a difference. It does. And so, I mean, you shouldn't be knowing what's going on. Too many people rest fate in their hands. I mean, I'm not going to tell you they rest their fate in their hands with the idea that they know that estimate is more true than what you're telling them. So it's not. It's not, and I do think that at the end of the day, there are very, very finer details in evaluating properties, and one of them is neighborhood turnover. Okay? Yep. So, anything else?
Very nice.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, actually, new listings, they're up 93% month over month. Why do you think that is with everything else?
93%?
Yeah, 90. Oh my God, 39.
39.
39, not 93.
Retracting.
That would be.
I was like, wow, that's like, geez, it's like It's raining
That would
houses.
have been crazy, yeah.
Her eyes are
bad.
good. She's been working all day, folks. So it's like she's
Yeah.
her eyes are tired, so she's reading backwards. It's actually, it's okay. So 39%. Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask you, why do you think it's up?
I mean, as a seasonal,
39?
it's as a seasonal measure. That's usually typical. I mean, February, March especially, April really a lot because it's the flock of geese. Mm-hmm. Everybody decides to put their market out at the same time. Some of it has to do with timing of school. So if I put my house in April, May, June, July, I can move in the summer. So it's a lot of people coincide. They're moving with whatever family responsibilities they have, and that's how they're making the determination. Is not, some people say, is it better to put it up for a certain month? I have never really seen numbers that suggest that any particular month, like, you're gaining more traction. Mm-hmm. I always say the best time to do things is when nobody else is doing them. I mean, it's just, I believe in the law of supply and demand. March is a very good month to put a house on the market. February is a very good house because it kind of beats, by the time people reach the curve in selling, they usually wait till there's a lot more houses on the market. They want to predict that, because I'm putting it up in April or May, or, but February, end of February, while the volumes are down, and people really get onto the ball, that's a very, I mean, historically speaking, if you're going to say, there's not been any evidence, at least in my readings of stats, that say that any particular time is better than another time. It's as many houses as there are, is as many buyers there are at a given time. Take into consideration that it just increases with the months. So it just comes down to supply and demand at that point. So and that's basically static. So it doesn't really change too much month to month over month, at least not in the way that shows up in stats. So that's that's how you kind of predict it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the big thing. Do we have anything else?
Yes, we do.
So here we go.
Sorry, 3 pages.
Yeah. Terry said, pull this right out of the binder. That's how fast she had to move today. She had to move fast.
Yeah, usually I type it out.
Yeah, it's like all,
highlight.
I'm sitting here with all sorts of papers. Fortunately, I've done this enough that I can almost do percentages in my head.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those.
You're lucky.
And I'm not even that great at math. But after doing this so long, you could figure out percentages based on the average. Just, you could look at a number and say, geez, that's 23, 25.
Oh, my God.
And some of these numbers are weird. But
yeah.
So
all right. One other thing is month inventory is down.
Yes.
23.65% month over month.
Okay.
So it went up in February, but it went back down in March.
So it went from February from
7.27, and now it's at 5.55.
Yes. So from 5 months of this is like an absorption rate. So month's inventory is indicative of how many home sales there are to how many houses are actually currently actively listed. So this is how long it would take for the market to absorb this based on the amount of sales. So February is the first time it bumped over 7, and it's got to be about 6 years. So and so the bump over 7 was a real kind of like shock number for last month, and it kind of shocked me. But so usually, and I hate using rules of thumb, but I gotta use them because it just makes it simpler for people. Under 6 months, north or south is really an indicator of where what kind of market is. So you'll hear things like buyer's market, seller's market. The big thing is when we talk about that, we want to talk about that month's inventory number, and say at 6 months we are at what I call a near neutral, or these numbers are neutral. There's no real favor here. So not 6 months, it's close enough to 6 months in each case. I mean, the February number was clearly more of a bias. So a full month is a full, at 7.27 is about 1.2 months, which is favoring buyers, and now it's under 6% at 5.55. When you start getting into before I say it's like a seller's or buyer's market, they've kind of fluctuated too. The average comes out to about 6, about 6 point, maybe give or take, maybe about 6.2. So 6.2 months inventory based on the two numbers, if you took them in between each other. So, with that being said, it is not a seller's or a buyer's market. I would say it's a pretty neutral, balanced market, meaning that there's an equal play here, and so I would not call it a buyer's market, and not based on this. And geez, I remember when those numbers were almost like 15 months.
Oh my
Yeah, we had 15 months at one time. We had, back in 2008, 2015, 16 months of inventory.
Wow.
Could you imagine? So it took 15 months for absorption rate. So so
man.
when you talk about 5.5 and 7.7, this is basically negligible between. Look, at one time it was down to in New Jersey, they were down to a month. It was like a month's worth of inventory on the market.
Wow.
I got to check Jersey numbers, and maybe we're going to add that to the next. I was just trying to get you warmed up. But the big thing is that we do have these numbers coming. They're definitely coming within the range of what I consider a neutral market. I was concerned last month at 7 points, at 7.27, but this month dropping down to 5.5. It's a neutral market.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the days on the market are up to 102 days.
Yes.
This is the highest since, I believe, May 2022.
Okay, that's actually the actual stat reporting date. So this is the first time that we've hit the 3-digit mark in days on the market. So, folks, what does that mean? It's slow going. Let's not cut any. So 100, being three digits in now. I think last month it was somewhere around 90. It was close. It was pushing 96.
Well, it's up 14 days. I don't have the number.
Actually, it's up 14 days.
Yeah.
So if you figure out the numbers, 14 days. It was like about 90, maybe 92 days. Somewhere
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was 88 days. Sorry, it was 88. 88 days to 102.
Smart.
So Mike. But anyway, so at 88 days, this is steadily on the increase. So it is a leading indicator, folks. So this is not the best news in the world. When you start heading into 3-digit territory on days on the market, that's more than 90 days. So it's more than 3 months now. We're approaching 4 months. Obviously, the advice to people is you need patience. I do see some things, but that number can come down a bit because I do believe March, with the pending sales going over 400 for the month, we're going to see a little bit of improvement. So I do think that we've kind of reached, and everything's going to be, I don't want to be an early predictor. Based on the last pending sale numbers of 400, I do think that we have some really good indicators that the market had kind of found a footing. So at 400 pending sales, that's the news out of this report. So if the one highlight we have for you is that the numbers of pending sales has increased significantly month over month. And, yes, they're down from last year, but when I look at month over month, like that much of an increase, that's significant enough to report on as being significant. So I feel that's the most significant thing in this report, saying that there is some balance here. And the balance is that for those people that are selling in these next few months, it's very important that every other factor, not just price, interest rate will be a driving factor in the marketability of a home. So it is important to note that with that being said, the buyer pools will shift. Okay, so what's that mean? So when we say buyer pools will shift, that is when you do debt to income ratios, and mortgage people know this, the debt to income ratios inflate or deflate the buyer pool for a particular property in a particular price range. So that means less people will qualify, which means the buyer pool shrinks, which means demand slows. Bottom line, as that number fluctuates, and being that it's a very volatile interest rate environment, people will try to time things out and miss the market based on either less than stellar information. If you want the ProdigyRE type of stuff where everything's just great all the time, it's not. The fundamentals are very, very volatile. So you can be on the market and you could literally go from like having no real showings, like maybe a trickle, and all of a sudden rates drop down half a point. You know, they go and it's on again. It's like it literally is a switch. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing, and that's why we're seeing the pending sales number being the most notable thing in this report. That home sales will jump over, get out of the 200s into the threes very soon. So we do. That's the leading indicator here, and that's the thing that I'm leading out of this report. Well, all the other numbers, the leading indicators could be trailing indicators as well, meaning that like the pending sales is definitely a good barometer, because it's like, okay, this is what's happening. So it's important to note that when we're talking about those sales, those pending sales being over 400, one of these months, some of these don't go through, and I say a very small percentage, about 98%, being a 407 pending sales. Maybe we're at 390 total, so 390 sales, which is, you know, it's, July was 470 last year, it's going to be down, but it's definitely an improvement, the way things were sloping out. Like if we were looking at the curves, and like where things were curving, like where you try to look at these things and see where we're going to get a curve, or when there's going to be an established baseline for how things will drop. So we have, like much of Wall Street, if you have Wall Street in general, everything's kind of like stagnated. So while it's kind of it always hit Wall Street first and then kind of the housing market next. Wall Street saw a big decline, like, you know, the numbers are showing up now for us in real estate because it's just a slower reporting, but it has balanced itself out. So we may have reached that point. I'm not going to tell you 100%. I do think that there's some headwinds here to get through, to make it absolutely certain. And we're never absolutely certain. There's so many factors. But the main factor is get the right information. We'll give you that every month. And you have those stats here, and hopefully we'll be getting these insights. Again, the takeaway from this report is, and the good news for at least the home selling market, maybe not the home buyer market, they just want to see this thing go down. It's like buying a car. You know, they say that the price is going to come down. Oh, defaults are up, the price is going to come down. It just doesn't seem to work. Yeah. And that's because, you know, it's funny. There's nothing on the market. It's just everything's just tight. Yeah, it's. You know. Yeah. It's like the last day in Fiji for cars. You know, they say the numbers are going down. We don't know. Maybe maybe when the rates get to 14% on cars, but it's not. It's an interesting time, and I do think that at the end of the day, you know, we don't want to keep Carrie from getting dolled up for the party, so we want to make sure it's 427. She's like, get me home, get me change. Yes, it is. Come on. And we're going to see some people tonight. It's going to be fun. We'll have a good time, and you know, geez, it'll be definitely a nice night. Yeah, a great day. Yeah, it's going to be a great day. So, with that is our report. We're giving it to you live, and hopefully, if you have a question and you need some type of advice, please, you can message us. Yes. Use that message button at the top, or comment at the bottom. Yes. And we'll answer it for you. I'll try to. She can't answer it. She's not licensed, but she'll tell me. She'll forward that message right over to me. But again, the last thing I'm going to say, this report, pending sales is the biggest news, up considerably month over month, over 400. We should see, it looks like a very good barometer for a robust recovery or a stabilization of the market. We're going to see. I do see that that's a positive step. So let's leave it at that. Last time was over 400, to believe it or not. Let me just make a note of that. I think the last time was May. So it was May 2022 was the last time it was over 400, and that to happen in the March is, not too bad. Last March it was 476 last March. So, it's definitely down a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not horrible. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Anybody have a question? We'll try to answer it. Again, I'm Anthony 𝕃𝕀𝕍𝔼. I'm broker owner of Prodigy Real Estate, and this is Kerry 𝕃𝕀𝕍𝔼.
Yes,
who's our
that's
PR
me.
person here. All right. So,
yes.
And she's really getting hammered in with these stats. She got a lot of hats to wear in this office.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which hat are you gonna do? You've been doing the stats for a while.
For a while. It matches my outfits.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, and we'll catch you. Obviously, you'll see a lot more of her than you'll see of me. So you have some other like neighborhood stat videos coming out.
Tuesday and Thursdays.
That's it.
Yep.
So,
well, thank you for watching, guys.
Yeah, and tune in. So they should. If you haven't, just one last thing.
Yes.
YouTube. Our YouTube is absolutely exploding. So if you haven't seen our YouTube channel, it's definitely
check it out.
Yeah, we've been working hard on that. The subscriber base. It's 20,000 people viewing. Not 20. It was like 14,000. It was like we're really pushing those numbers.
Yeah.
And it's getting higher and higher every month. And
we love it.
These lives, things are coming around, and hopefully you probably could hear us better. We got new mics.
Yeah.
I know,
I'm
excited. They couldn't hear us. We actually have mics.
Yes.
Is it working, guys?
Imagine
it goes it's just us talking, talking heads. It's like, and nobody could hear. But I don't. I think we would have seen something. Right?
Yeah, this worked.
Yeah.
When I used it yesterday, so it's nice.
We'll see, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, bright sunny day. Enjoy your time. We'll see you in a month, and I will see you Friday for another live.
Yes.
God help me.
I'll see you.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.